Welcome to Enlightened Abroad, the podcast with Derek Strobel.
Hello. Welcome to episode number 15 of Enlightened Abroad. This episode will feature Paul. Paul is, I'm going to call him Pastor Paul, okay? This is because at the end of the interview I found out that he's actually an ordained minister, and I didn't know that. Originally it was called Chef Paul because I met him at a local restaurant, and he seemed like a really cool guy, South African guy, and I told him I was doing a podcast, and he's like, "Oh man, that's great, can you send me a few episodes?" And I just said, "Would you want to do an episode?" I was interested because I've been in restaurants my whole life before I was a teacher, and I know the game, and I just think a lot of times it's people in the back, they don't even think about how food gets made and stuff, and I know what goes on back there, so I was like, oh, let me get this perspective. Plus, he's South African, and he's living with me in the Middle East. So, not with me, but he's living in the same area as me in the Middle East. And the episode just took such an amazing turn because we started talking about the restaurants, and then all of a sudden we started talking about life and how he wants to open up this place to help people with depression. And it blossomed into a really cool interview just about how to be a cool person and how to live in meaningful ways, and it's totally unexpected. Paul, thank you so much for doing it. And the guy's an ordained minister. Come on, man, this is awesome. After this episode was recorded, Paul got another job, got his dream job. Well, not his dream job, because his dream job is to open a restaurant, but he got a really good job, moved back to Africa, and he is reunited with his wife there. So I'm very happy for him, and he's going to get this in Africa, and he's going to be blasted all over the airways there, right, Paul? Thank you so much for doing it. You're going to hear from a different perspective about how to, it's not always about teaching or traveling. It's about sometimes you can just do your own profession overseas if you know how to do it the right way. So you don't even have to change fields. That's what I found pretty fascinating. Did I mention the guy's an ordained minister? Please welcome Paul. Pastor Paul from South Africa. Okay. Chef Paul.
Yeah.
What's
and
up?
now, please enjoy the show.
I'm good. Can't
Good, man,
complain.
good.
Glad to be here with you.
Thank you, my man. Welcome to Enlightened Abroad. Do people call you Chef Paul, or do they call you just Paul at the restaurant?
I prefer Paul. It makes it a bit easier so that we don't demand that, I want to be called chef, because it's not the title that makes me a chef, but my ability to do my job to the best of my ability. So, yeah, Paul is good.
Yeah, I know there are some chefs though that they require, right?
Yeah.
They require that as a term of respect, but you're not like that.
Nah, I'm cool. I'm easy.
Nice, man.
The proof is in the pudding. Some guys you can call chef, and then when you ask him to cook a steak, he's not going to do it properly. So,
yeah, that's true. Where did you go to school to learn how to cook?
So my story goes as follow. I started out in a restaurant as a runner, basically cleaning the tables and picking up things from the shop. And my dad had a conversation with me one day and saying, what is the bigger plan? And I was like, I want to own my own restaurant one day. And he was like, so then your best place to be is inside the kitchen, because that's where you get the most wastage. People eat your food. People, you lose a lot of stuff. So then I decided, let me then give this a try. And then I studied at the South African Chefs Academy, which was run by one of South Africa's top chefs, Chef Garth Strobel.
And
that's where I
sorry,
studied.
Paul, I'll stop you just to ask the name again of this chef.
Chef Garth Strobel.
Can you spell it?
Garth.
Garth, Garth.
Yeah. Strobel as in SCH. Strobel. OOL, I think.
Okay, so I'll ask you just because then we can put him in the notes later. So tell me about this. So you went to his school or his restaurant?
His school.
Okay.
So that was really intense. It was a 6-month intense course, because I don't believe that chefs have to study for 3 years. I think it's a waste of time, because you learn more on the job, and that's the type of job that it is. Yes, we get theory in chef school, but at the end of the day, the theory is nothing if you cannot do it physically and if you are on hands-on training. So that was good for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I worked in restaurants for a while as well, and I actually went to a bartending school once, and
Nice.
then I agree with you. It was such a waste of time because, I mean, maybe I learned how to make 2 or 3 drinks, but then once I went to actual bar, it was like no.
Worlds apart.
And
Well,
plus, when it's like a rush.
yeah.
Do you have that saying, "In the weeds"?
In the weeds?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Please explain.
In the weeds, it's not a reference to illegal activity,
Yeah.
but it's in the restaurants in New York when it's busy,
Yeah.
like slammed. We say we're in the weeds, like we can't see through the tickets.
I love it. I'll definitely use that.
There you go. What do you say when it's like super busy?
For me, for us in our kitchen, we would say that we are getting slammed at the moment. And that is when tickets is from the one end to the other end and the machine does not stop printing, and then we're getting slammed.
Man, yeah, we say that too. That's such a nightmare feeling when it's just you hear that machine.
It is insane. But for me, I love that rush of that dockets just keep on printing. And you like, new order, and you just start pushing things out. And there's nothing as good as looking at the end of the night at the stack of dockets that you have, and the machine was like crazy, and you know that you've sent out every plate exactly how it should be. Guest is happy, everyone is smiling, they're having a great night. So
Yeah, so you definitely should own your own restaurant then.
that is the plan.
Nice, man.
That is definitely the plan.
I think you're right though, because you have to have that attitude of enjoying the rush. Otherwise, you'll get buried, because there is something about it where you're like, okay, let's go. You go into a different mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like, and time goes so fast. You turn around and it's like, boom, dinner's done, and wow. And yeah, I did like that, but then sometimes you just get behind and it just gets so messed up. And
I always think back when I started out at the Taj Hotel. My first section, I worked in the Indian restaurant, and they put me on starters. And if I look back on when I started and where I'm now, like that first night I got slammed so hard that in a small little kitchen there was like 5 chefs helping me, pushing out starters and pushing out desserts. And as you grow in the industry, you then learn tricks and means of preparing yourself and planning ahead. So then you ride that wave perfectly, because now you're like, okay, I have this on order, this goes quickly, let me cook this, let me just pop this on the fryer again. And so you learn in the industry, and that's what it's about.
Totally. I'm sure you've read Kitchen Confidential, right?
Love the book.
Yeah.
Love the book. Never finished it though.
No?
Never. I'm more a TV guy. Give me the series, and I'll watch the series. Started out with the book. One of my friends actually scolded at me because I lost the confidentiality book, and she's like, "Dude, I want my book back."
Yeah. Well, he did have a great series, man.
Yeah.
Rest
amazing.
in peace too.
Yeah. Great, phenomenal chef.
Phenomenal,
and phenomenal of life of like how we ended up cooking, and I like that type of vibe.
Yeah.
How we fell in love with the food, and it's amazing.
I always remember that one part of the book when he talks about the the rags you use, the white rags.
Yeah.
How like they're so valuable, so he would like hide them in the ceiling.
It's hectic. And then in kitchens, like your rags are so important, because if I don't look after mine, someone else will just come and steal it and take it, and I'll be like, dude, I bought this with my own money to make my life easier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they're so valuable. Can you explain why? So someone who's never worked in a restaurant, why is it so important to have a dry rag or cloth?
Well, if you take something out of the oven and you use a wet cloth, you're going to burn yourself in... there's a word in South Africa we use, in your chops, which means you're going to burn and you're going to have a few scars to show that you took a wet cloth. So because the heat of that pan is so intense, because you put that steak in the oven and now you're using a wet cloth and that heat goes right through the cloth. So it's important to always have a dry cloth. But also it's like, for me, it's a thing of like, you need to be professional and you need to have your cloth. It's like I always have this mental thing that my apron, because I like looking good, so I need to, my apron, clean jacket, nicely ironed, my cloth, and it's all part of your setup. If you don't plan well, if you don't prepare well, and then you're gonna be slammed every day just by not planning properly.
Do you have a routine that you do when you go in to work?
Yes, I do.
So what do you do?
So the first thing I do, I will go through the chillers. So because it's also my responsibility to make sure that we have enough stock for the day or for the weekend. So I would walk through the chillers, check the chillers, make sure that we have everything, and then I'll check the sections to make sure that mise en place is done. Mise en place is just a nice, beautiful word for prep or for things that needs to be done. So I'll make sure that list is done. Everyone have their duties. Everyone knows what they need to do. In terms of new chefs, I would show them what to do, how to do it, how to brunoise, how to julienne, how to do all these cuts. And that's basically the day. And then we'll start with orders and... because this property where I'm now, it's really small, so it's one of those things where you do mise en place and you do orders and you prep and you, so that you set for the day.
Yeah, that's so important to be ready. I remember we did that too. The bar shift, we would have to do in the morning shift, we would have to do all the prep for lemons, limes, fruit for the night, because the morning wasn't too busy.
Yeah.
So I would just be jamming out lemon juice, limes, and everything, and just hoping that I didn't get a text at nighttime like, "You didn't prep enough lemon." I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." But it's so important to have it ready, because once you run out of stuff,
and then you fall behind, and that is the worst thing, to be running around for small things that you could have done during the day.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, it teaches you like really how to get organized, doesn't it?
Intense. It's really so important. Like That's why there's a saying that say that we should organize like accountants. We should cook like cook like our grandmothers. And there's this whole list of things that we should do. Like I feel in the chefing world, you need to be able to plan well, especially if you have a busy weekend with functions, with your normal a la carte menu, with things that comes up in between, you always need to be ready, having things in your freezer, having things done in your chillers, so that if we get anything, a function for 10 people, that we have this is prepped already.
Yeah, I got you. So take me back a bit to, sorry we got off it. That's all right though. It's good, man. You're good at this. It's funny because I met you and I was like, oh man, it would be great to have, because I worked in restaurants for 15 years. Every time I go into your property, I see, I can see everything. Because when you worked in a restaurant, you just see it. So I'm telling the girls like, hey, table 5's beer, They're like, what? I'm like, it's beer. They're like, sit down, relax. So then I'd be like, it'd be cool to have a restaurant perspective on the show, because most of the people I've interviewed have been spiritual healing modalities or expats teachers. Yeah. And your story is different because you're an expat, but you're a chef. So I thought, that's cool. Like, how does that work? Because I never thought about that. My only way to travel was like by teaching. Yeah. So you went to Garth's training. Yeah. 6 months. 6 months. Your dad gave you some really good advice.
It was brilliant. It changed my life forever.
For sure.
I wanted to be originally a psychologist, and then I was like, did 1 year of it, and I was like, nah, not for me. Let me stick with hospitality. And once it bit me, I never looked back.
Yeah. I think you have to love it, because if you don't, you'll go crazy.
You'll go crazy. And most of my friends who started out with me, like in college, they would do it for a year, and then you were like, what you doing now? No, I'm doing something else.
Oh, you mean cooking?
Cooking.
Yeah.
And they would just drop out.
Yeah, it has a way of getting people. Like you throw in the fire. What is it like? Throw them in the deep end and see if they can swim. Either they sink or swim.
Most of them drown, and they're like, "We're not doing this ever again."
Totally. So, what did you learn in Garth's school? You think that was valuable that took you on this path?
For me, like what they really the hands-on training is really crucial in the course, but they prepare you for industry. Like the endless chats about your passion, the endless chats of this is how it's going to be in industry. It's not a picture painted that's saying that it's going to be beautiful, you're going to bake muffins and you're going to do this and it's going to be cakes, and they tell you about the cuts, they tell you about the burns, they tell you about the late earlies, they tell you about
tell you about the what? The late what?
Late earlies.
What's that?
That is, you work from your 2 o'clock to your 11 o'clock and you go home and you're back at 5 o'clock again for breakfast.
Right.
That is a late early.
Ah, yeah.
In South Africa, we will call it a lalavuka.
Lalavuka, what's that?
A lalavuka. So it's like literally you going home, and back home we have buses picking us up. So staff transport will be arranged. You will be dropped at 1 o'clock at your house, and at 4 o'clock you will hear a taxi is hooting for you. So that's your lalavuka.
Damn.
It's insane.
Yeah, that is insane. The hours are crazy because people are working. People are eating when, they're off work, traditional hours.
Yeah.
And that's your prime time.
And that's when you must be on your A game.
So that place prepared you for that?
Yeah.
Just by talking about it, or?
Talking about it, and also because it was a working and studying course. So It wasn't just you sitting in a classroom and we doing the things, but it was hands-on at the college, and also you were in industry, which was important.
Cool. That is important. And then after 6 months, did they give you employment, or did they send you
I was
somewhere?
working at that time already.
Okay.
So that was good.
You got a job.
I got a job.
Nice. So then what is it that, this is the main question, like what is it that made you say, I got to go, or I want to go be an expat and do this outside of my country?
Well, to be honest with you, that's never been my dream to work outside of my country. But what happened was, I worked with a chef in Cape Town, and he came over. He's in the UAE for the last 7 years already working here, and he came to this property over here, and then he called me and he's like, "You want a job outside of South Africa?" And I'm like, never thought about it, but yeah, let's give it a try. And then he brought me over here, and then I came in. I'm working up, cooking up a storm in the UAE now. But never was it in my wildest dreams that I will travel outside of my country to go work. I always wanted to travel and see the world. But I was like, because I always heard stories of how hard people work in the UAE. Now I see it's true. We work really hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of work here. Was it, I'd imagine that, if your situation in South Africa was your dream job, you probably wouldn't have left.
No.
So, was it anything about that, or was it more like I just wanted to take a chance?
For me, it was taking a chance, and really just testing the waters. Because I also realized that if you want to grow in industry, a lot of chefs travel outside of South Africa, and they come back and they get better positions. So international experience is also really, really important. And I wanted to see how people do things on an international level outside of South Africa's standards and the way we do things. So it also gives a thing of learning a little bit more about hospitality and the chef world.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Are you from Cape Town?
Born in Johannesburg.
Okay.
My father, who's a wise man, I love him to bits, got this brilliant idea to move us to Cape Town. And now I'm a Cape Townian.
Good. And what did your dad do?
My dad is a carpenter.
He's a carpenter.
Absolutely brilliant at what he does.
Oh.
And he's the one that has instilled this thing of passion within me.
Wow.
He would always, his quote is, if I don't love what I'm doing, then you won't see me doing anything anymore. He's those guys, if he comes to your house and your cupboard is broken, he'll be like, give my tools, let me fix it.
That's
Because
awesome.
he absolutely loves creating things.
Wow. I love that. You know, you're the second South African on the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's more of us out there. We're all there.
And the other guy's awesome guy too, and he had a similar experience with it was his grandfather though. His grandfather was the guy who just instilled this passion and love, but it was for game farming. And this guy now is in the UAE working with nature. He worked in the Ritz-Carlton Wadi in Al Wadi.
Nice.
And he said the same type of stuff. So I wonder if it's something in your blood. You guys have this determination to, just be really passionate and positive about work.
I think I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
Because I always tell people, like, for me it's important that passion is crucial for anything. If you don't have a passion for something, like I tell people all the time, if you're not happy with a job or wherever you find yourself, then you move, because it's just going to be killing your vibe all the time. And your energy, your positive energy is important. So it's really a thing of, I tell the staff all the time, you must motivate yourself. So motivation comes from within, and you constantly need to motivate yourself. Because I always tell people, like, I was telling someone last night, in fact, like, there's a few movies that I love watching whenever I feel like I'm done with chefing, I can't take this anymore. I go back and I watch 100-Foot Journey.
Tell me the name again.
100-Foot Journey, an absolutely amazing chef's movie.
Okay.
It's about this Indian family that has a restaurant in Mumbai. The restaurant burns down, and he travels to France with his family. And his father wants to open up an Indian restaurant opposite a Michelin star restaurant, which is like oil and water.
Yeah.
And this guy actually goes to work at this Michelin star restaurant, and he becomes one of like the top chefs in France.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing, of determination, tenacity, pushing through the boundaries when everyone else say it's not going to work. This guy goes and he makes it work. Amazing.
What are the other movies?
I love
Burn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very popular one, and I love Chef as well. About this guy that opens up a food truck.
Oh, I love that movie.
Food critic is pushing him down, and he just rises up above all the odds.
Yeah, I think I've seen. That's who's the actor in that?
What is this guy's name? Chubby guy, glasses.
Yeah, he was in Swingers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Favreau, something like
And
that.
he gives his son such a cool knife. Oh my word. I love it.
So knives are important as a chef, right?
I love knives.
What are the best knives?
Word. For me, there's this new vibe now where we're going back to Asia. So you'll see all the chefs are using these Asian cleavers and chopping chef's knives. But I'm still a very traditional guy, Wusthof, global. But I also believe, like, I can use any knife if it's comfortable in my hand. There's nothing more irritating than going into someone's house and they're like, chop this onion, and I'm like, where's your knife? And I'm like, what's this? Is this a spoon or what? I got it, let's cut this. What is this?
Yeah, it's so important. You gotta have the right tools.
Definitely.
Do you cook at home, or do you just get takeout because you're so tired?
When I'm home, and then I'm married, my wife always fights with me, because the first thing when they meet us, they're like, so what do you do? He's a chef. And they're like, oh, you're so lucky. And she's like, for what? He never cooks. For me, I seldom cook when I'm at home. But when I feel like cooking, and then my wife knows it's going to be a good meal, because then I will go like starter, mains, dessert, and I'll go all the way. And people will be like, is this at home? You plate food at home as well? We just throw everything. Like, no. Not when I'm cooking. And then, like, the funny story, my wife will always come at the last few days of the end of the month and be like, there's nothing to make, there's nothing to eat, and I'm like, I'll go make something. And then I have some polenta in the cupboard, and I have this, and I'm there, my love, let's eat. So yeah, but she cooks most of the time.
Oh, really? Is she a cook as well?
No, she works for the Taj Hotel in their housekeeping department back home in Cape Town.
Okay. So you guys are separate now?
We're separate right now, which is it's a sad situation.
So tough. So how long has it been?
It's been 5 months.
Only 5 months. It's got to be tough.
5 long months.
So what are you doing? How do you guys stay in touch?
Lots of WhatsApp calls, WhatsApp chats, lots of video calls, lots of messages. It's insane.
And what is so what was your plan to do? Are you guys like, hey, let me try it out and then you'll come, or let me see, or?
The idea is to travel together. So right now she's working in the housekeeping department. I'm planning to bring her over and then getting a job here, and then we wanna, because the idea is to travel from here and see different places. That's the heartbeat.
It's a good plan. Is it hard to get these kind of jobs as a chef internationally, or is it pretty straightforward? How does it work?
I don't think it's that hard. They back home, there's such a lot of agents that help you get jobs in the UAE, in cruise ships and all these places. But I think it becomes difficult when the standard where we are and where places in the UAE is, I sometimes feel like it's worlds apart. So it's just a lot of adjustment for us when we come over from being used to doing things a certain way and coming here and learning a new way of doing things. Which is a good thing. I always tell people we're here to learn and go back home and apply what we've learned here.
You guys are so positive in South Africa. It's
we
awesome.
have to be.
It's awesome,
we come through a lot. Our forefathers has come through a lot.
That must be why.
So we need to push. We need to build a better South Africa.
I like it, man. I like it. It's very inspiring. So then let's just say for a second, we'll like screw down this one, because maybe there's somebody out there who's like you, who wants to travel a bit, but they're a chef. Maybe not, let's say South Africa, maybe just anywhere. What would you recommend them? Are there websites they go to, or do they, how do they start the process? What do you think?
For me, luckily for me, I got a call and somebody offered me, be like, come over. And a lot of guys come and they see where, oh, you're working in the UAE, how did you get there? What agency did you use? And I'm like, well, I just got a call saying like, do you want to come? But there's a lot of, even in Dubai, if you Google jobs in Dubai, you'll find websites and pages of like jobs that there is. For me, I always say that if you want to work anywhere, if you want to work, you will find a job if you want to. A lot of guys will be like, I want to travel, I want to go, and they're like, okay. But there's no passion and there's no determination to be like, let me make this happen for myself. Back home, I believe like we need to make things happen for ourselves. It's like you can have the desire, you can have whatever, but if you're not going to make it happen, go physically on that web page, send your CV, your resume out saying, this is what I want to do, I want to do this. And it's not going to happen. So it starts by having the desire to really say, I'm going to push and I'm going to get something done here. And then you'll see, you'll get opportunities like this.
So what's been the most, let's say, meaningful thing that you've found? Is this your first living abroad?
First time.
So have you traveled before at all? Or?
I've been in Ghana. I've been in India last year, March. I went to travel in India.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing.
How long did you go for?
I was there for 2 weeks. Absolutely amazing. I love India.
And where did you go?
I was in Mumbai.
Okay.
And in Mumbai, there's a town called Nanded, which is, we were on a 15-hour train ride, which was fun. Oh, it was nice. And then we were in Nanded, a beautiful, beautiful place. Rich in, oh my word.
Nanded?
Nanded. Love India.
So, that was like just a trip for fun?
That was just a trip for fun. And because I worked for the Taj group for so long, I always wanted to go to India and see India for myself. Because I had such a lot of stories, and I was like, told my wife, let's go and let's see for ourselves.
So you went with your wife?
Yeah.
And I assume Taj is an Indian group, a hotel chain, right?
Comes from the Ratan Tatas, the Tata group.
Okay.
The cars, the metro.
Okay, got it. So what else about India? Where else did you go? Did you go to the north or no?
I was just in Mumbai.
Okay.
When I came in India, I realized how big India is. I'll take probably a year to get to all the places.
Totally. I want to go to India too, but I'm the same. Like, I need at least 6 months. But I think I'm going to go for Eid, just for a weekend.
A weekend.
Just to check it out because, I mean, it's one of those things. I just want to take a backpack, just go land and just go.
My next place will be Goa.
Yeah?
I love Goa.
Do you guys get good vacation? How's your vacation time?
Vacation is once a year.
It's like a month, right?
A month.
So you gotta wait.
Patiently.
Oh, buddy. I'm so sorry, man. It's so hard to be away from family, but I'm sure it'll be worth it for you guys.
Definitely. Right now, it's really for us, like, what's the bigger goal?
Yeah.
And keeping our eye on the prize.
How long have you been married?
This year I'll be married for 6 years.
Nice. Okay.
I always joke with my wife and be like, for you it's 6 years, for me it's 20 years. And she's like, why? Because you're stressing me out. So 6 years this year.
She's stressing you out? She can't listen to this then. I thought you were going to say it's 20 years because I've been in love with you for so long.
Oh, man.
That's what you got to tell her.
Next time I'll definitely.
That's it. Tell her that's what you meant. Cool, man. So, you've said the most meaningful thing, I guess, was just how it's different. Is that it? Or, I mean, it's challenging, but that's good. But what's been like something that has really challenged you besides that?
Besides, what really challenged me is the language barrier. Some people say that I speak very fast. I'll be like, can you please sing broken French? And they're like, huh? What are you saying? Understanding not coming. So that has been one of my bigger challenges, is the language. But also, I've come to a place now that I've realized, like, I can't expect these guys to, like, a lot of people be like, you only speak English in the kitchen. And I've realized, like, I can't do that to the guys because they don't speak English. And
what do they speak then?
We have Hindi, we have Marathi, we have a guy from Nepal in our kitchen, we have a guy from Bangladesh, India.
Right.
So you can't expect them to express themselves in English if they cannot speak English.
Yeah, it's a corporate policy or something.
It's, for me, like, I've even told my chef, like, let them be. When it comes to orders and work things, I want to hear what you're saying. Then I want to know what you are talking about.
Right.
But if it's other stuff and I'm not involved, then you speak your whatever language you want to.
I think it was Nelson Mandela who said, if you want to speak to somebody's head, speak your language. If you want to speak to their heart, speak their language.
That's why I always joke with them. I always joke with them, and what I'll do is I'll use all the food terms that I've learned in the Taj group, like chicken tariwara or dal makhni, and they'll speak, and I'll be like, lasuni palak, alala.
They love you, man.
And they're like, okay, chef, this is what we're saying.
Have you been to Nepal?
Not yet. Also one of my places that I want to visit.
Also good. So we went to Nepal, and I learned 4 or 5 sentences in Nepalese.
Nice.
But now, there's a lot of Nepalese here. So I tell you, man, I say those 2 sentences, their faces light up like...
Definitely.
Wow. You've been to Nepal? Yeah. They're like so happy. It's true. So I think that's important. But also, you don't speak fast. You know what it is? It's your accent.
Really?
Yes, it's not the speed because I taught ESL for a long time. So the South African accent is hard because you guys accent different sounds in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
So the ear doesn't get it. But actually your speed is fine.
Okay, so I'll be like,
so that's,
can you please?
Yeah, I mean, slower would help maybe, but yeah, so that's interesting because actually what the ear gets is rhythm and the accent. So, yeah, it's interesting. So if you hear like a Chinese person, because they speak in a very, or let's say like Korean or something, they speak in a like that. 안녕하세요. And in English, they'll try to say English like, hello, how are you, Derek?
Oh, wow.
But we don't speak that way in English. We say, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
And the hello part is like squished, right? So for them, the Koreans, they say, what? Because you have to speak to them like, hello, how are you?
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to, like, it's accent and rhythm. But yeah, it's interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, tell me then. All right. So language is challenging, and then, but it seems like you're having a good time. And 5 months, you're still okay. You're still smiling.
I am. I'm having a ball of a time. It's absolutely fun. I've never worked with such a lot of different nationalities in one small space.
Yeah.
And for me, I always look at building relationships and contacts. I always tell people whenever I travel, if I go to Nepal, I have a house in Nepal because my friend that I met here, he's from Nepal. So I'll be like, dude, I'm coming to visit you. And it's cheap at the end of the day.
You're absolutely right. And yeah, I have friends all over the world. I've been doing this for 10 years. So it's like, it's amazing. I went to Brazil and talked to some students, stayed with them, and
beautiful.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. We're very lucky. Tell me about your cooking a little bit more. So, what would be like? It's the end of the month. Your wife says there's no food. You're gonna make the best meal ever. What would be your best, your favorite dish, or
my favorite dish, my best dish? For me, firstly, cooking. It always depends on the weather and the season. So there's different dishes for different times of the year. If it's winter, I love making soups. My family always fight with me because I come from a people group that they call us coloreds. So coloreds is a mixture. Coloreds. Coloreds is a mixture between white people and black people. So the white farmer had a black maid and they made a baby, and that's how coloreds came. So that's us. So my mom's soup would be with bones and with veg and chunky. And now I've been trained to make soups I would blend it up, I would pass it through a sieve, and my mom would be like, make soup, but I don't want white people soup. I want colored soup. And I'm like, okay. But like for me, if it's winter, it must be a soup. There must be homemade bread. I would take hours kneading that bread, waiting for it to rise, waiting for it to proof, baking it, some garlic on top, some cheese on top.
Ooh.
Amazing. And when that bread comes out of the oven and you get the smell of bread and the smell of soup that is busy going, absolutely amazing. Like my wife would always, for every function, someone is like, who's going to make soup? Who can make butternut soup? And I'm like, I hate peeling all that butternut. Why are you telling me?
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. And then if for summers, I like light foods. I love salads. I like experimenting with like vegan free, testing my abilities to be like, I'm going to do something vegan. I don't want to use any dairy in it. I'm going to think of something else to replace it with. So for me at home, cooking at home is always trying out new things. To go to work and be like, I made this and it was actually really good. Let me try this tomorrow.
Do you have any say in the menu over there? Do you create the menu?
We actually have a nice thing going now, which is specials of the day, which I generally take responsibility for.
Nice.
So it gives me nice creative freedom to see what is in the fridge and then I do a dish out of it. Actually, today on special way for our salad, I did salmon 3 ways with some mixed leaves and some tomatoes in there, some nice freshly sliced onions, a salmon croquette, a salmon tartare, and some pulled salmon, like flaky salmon in the salad. Really nice.
So you made the salmon cream 3 ways and put all those in the salad. Oh, that's a good idea.
Beautiful.
Salmon croquette.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll show you a picture. I'll take a picture of it.
Nice. How do you, so are you dietary, do you have restrictions yourself? Like, are you meat eater, non-meat eater, or?
The only thing I have, and I got it from my mom, is diabetic. And so I don't generally like to be in the pastry kitchen because I love sweet stuff.
The sugar. What do you replace?
Well, there's a lot of, I don't know, do we have it in the UAE, but there's xylitol.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You can replace it with that. You can replace it with honey, but I still feel honey is really sweet.
Yeah.
So natural sugars is always good.
Right. Does that affect your diabetes?
Yeah.
Do you have to take insulin?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
It's hectic.
We can talk about that. There's ways to change it, I think, beyond medicine.
Really?
Yeah.
Please show me the way.
Well, I've had a lot of people on here who've changed things like that without the traditional medicine that they use through nutrition and things like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I know there was a woman on this show, episode 7. She had like thyroid disease.
Yeah.
And they said, like, you can't cure this. And she cured it through like diet and yoga.
Hectic.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll send you some info.
Yoga. Let me start stretching.
How's the exercise? Do you get the chance to exercise?
I try to run every morning. So I'll wake up at like 5:30 and I'll try to run a bit. Because it's yeah, but it's one of those things like the blood needs to flow.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
And exercise is very vital. But other than that, I get a lot of exercise in the kitchen.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Running up and down, it's insane.
Are you guys going to get any vegan dishes over there?
We're currently working on a new menu.
Okay.
And I think like with the current menu, there's not a lot of vegetarian options.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like push some vegetarian things on there. And also vegan friendly stuff.
Yeah. It's hard. Cool. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So, so what else about being abroad that's been that you've learned or anything? How's your family dealing with it?
Well, my sister has 2 daughters, and just the other day I got a very, very beautiful voice note from the youngest one.
Yeah.
Which went as follow. Hello, Paul. I love you very much, but when are you coming home to your family? And I'm like, Carla Rose, please, don't do this. But like when I had a chat to her and I'm like, so why do you want me to come home? And she's like, no, because nobody buys me chocolates. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. It's okay. Because she can take me and be like, I love you so much. And I'm like, I love you too. Can you buy me chocolate? Like, yes, I can.
So how old is the niece?
The niece is 5 years old.
Okay, so you know where that really came from then, right? That's your sister.
Yeah.
That's your sister programming her. Get him back here. She misses you. Yeah, see those 3 girls there?
Yeah.
Those are my nieces.
Oh, man.
So I understand, man. And it's tough. It's really hard. So I try to go back once or twice a year if I can.
Awesome.
And then the thing with them is they're so young, so I write them letters, which, you know, because letters, nobody does that anymore, right?
Yeah.
So they get the letter, they're like, what is this? Like, that's the way we used to communicate, you know?
Yeah, they're so clever. They send voice notes and she'll take my sister's phone and be like, it's me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
It's crazy. They just pick it up so fast.
It's insane.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's one of the hardest things. So, like, a big reason for this show was because a lot of my friends and family, after 10 years of doing this,
yeah,
they'd say, when are you coming home? When are you coming home? And it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever do something at home again,
Sure.
because abroad I'm finding so much about myself and the world,
Yeah.
but I didn't get to share it with them.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, now you can listen to so my family will get to listen to you. I think that's cool.
That's awesome.
They're like, hey, okay, it's not just teachers, it's not just my brother running around being crazy. It's like people with families who are making this choice, and so that was one of the hardest things and I still don't have an answer for it. I wish they could come here.
Yeah.
But it'll be okay. It'll be all right.
Has to be.
Yeah. And what are you thinking about this lifestyle now? Do you still think like this restaurant you want to do? Do you have a location in mind? Do you have like it's got to be at home, or are you open? I mean, how do you feel?
The thing with I can call it the future plan. I'm working strategically to it. So what I'm doing, when I go back home now, I'll be doing a pop-up restaurant for a weekend. And that is basically my pilot program to see the concept that I have, will it work? But the bigger picture is I'm saving up to buy like a small holding, which, like I told you, I did psychology and I have such a love for people and for people dealing with issues and depression and stuff like that. So I really want to bring it together under one roof. So the idea is to get a small holding. I want to do like
a holding is what?
Small holding is like a farm setup.
Got it.
A little 10 rooms. You can come, you can check in, you can stay there for a week, for a weekend. We'll do different courses with you, teach you some art. And this is mainly for people that's struggling with depression, people that are suicidal, that has issues with life and can't deal with it. And just get a different outlet for their frustrations or what they're facing.
So what are you going to do at this holding? Is it going to be food-based or therapy?
It's going to be food-based. Number one, like I believe we are what we eat. So healthy food, the idea is to grow everything there. The idea is to, everything should be organic and healthy food. Have art classes, I don't know if you ever played a bongo drum. It's so therapeutic. Play that and just relax and let all that stresses go. Because I found like I have 2 or 3 people that suffers from depression in my friendship circle. Okay. And people that is like, oh, I can't do this anymore. So I really, now as of late, I was like, I really need to follow through with this concept. I think there's a market for it. And I really think it can work. Because for me, I always tell people like any business will succeed if we're gonna render a service. So even if you just want to break away for like a weekend, check in, relax, take it easy. The vision scares me because I'm like, oh my word, this will be big. Because I'm seeing horses on it. I'm seeing horse riding like it. You can go in and ride, go for a walk in the mountains or something. So I'm seeing Stellenbosch area, which is wineries, mountains, that type of feel to it. So it's exciting.
That's amazing, man. Stellenbosch is in South Africa?
That's yeah.
Wow, it's always been my dream too. It's funny. And there we go. There's a reason we're talking.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That's awesome. I always wanted to have something where kids could do that, where you could teach kids that, the food that they're eating comes from the earth. So they go into the garden, you say like, okay, we're going to plant stuff, and then, this will become this. So then go pick some tomatoes or whatever, and we'll make something. And then they learn, oh, wow, it's connected.
And that is like the sad thing is like with the world that is changing, that's how people ate many years ago. My dad would always speak of like he would go into their garden and go take a pumpkin out of the garden, take a cabbage out of the garden. And imagine if we could go back to that way of eating instead of a banana being planted yesterday and tomorrow it's harvest and it's like a massive banana, which you don't know generally what they put in there
exactly.
to get it to speed up the process.
It's one of the problems I have with the restaurant industry too, because it kind of feeds that system of you got to have food fast.
Yeah.
And maybe not organic because, like you said, it's seasonal.
Yeah.
So, like sometimes, guess what? You can't have blueberries. So you make another dish. But if that restaurant always needs to serve it, then they're going to ship it and they're going to grow it with pesticides or whatever. So that stuff is always challenging. It's one of the reasons I had to leave the restaurant industry. Yeah. So it was making me crazy.
No, but also like with at my previous property that I was, our menu changed. Like every 3 months we would have a different menu.
That's great.
Because my chef was like, that's not going to be in season.
Oh, that's great.
Either we buy a lot now and we pickle it, or we do something with it and we keep it, but it's not going to be in season. So we can't. And that teaches you to think ahead.
Yeah.
It teaches you to be creative, because I need to think of, this is not going to be in season next month. What am I going to do in? So it's for me, it's a very good way of eating.
That's awesome. Do you also know how to farm and everything like that, or?
I have no idea how to farm.
You'll figure it out.
But I'm sure I will.
That's how you guys do it.
But it's also like I bought a few books already on like seasonal, how to farm with things and how to grow things. But I know it will be the most natural thing ever.
It's a great idea, man. I love it. I love the concept. I think I think you're right that if you focus out, not just what I need, but like you focus out on what other people need, then you'll always succeed.
Definitely.
And that's a great idea. And you have the psychology degree, or no, you stopped it?
No, I just did psychology for a year.
That's okay.
But a lot of people don't know this about me. I'm in actual fact an ordained pastor as well. So counseling.
Pastor.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's weird. People are like, a pastor? And he's a chef? A pastor?
Hey, man.
I struggled with it for years. I was like, why am I not full-time in ministry?
Okay.
Until one of my friends said, the same way you feed people spiritually, you need to feed them naturally. So I was like, that makes sense. So yeah, that is also where the passion for people comes in, and helping people that are struggling with such a lot of things.
Oh, that's amazing. I think that's honestly, man, this is a great place to wrap it, I think, with that dream. I don't think we can get better than that. It's awesome. And it's really cool because you gave me inspiration also, because it's always been in the back of my mind, and I just don't know the place or anything, but I always know that, bringing people back to the earth, to the land, definitely. Where it's like, hey, this has all gotten a little crazy. But remember, everything we need is in the dirt. Yeah. Put something over our heads. Yeah. A community, and we're pretty much good, Definitely. We don't have to worry about all that other stuff, so, which is hard these days. Yeah. So, can we say Pastor Paul then, or no?
Pastor Paul.
That's awesome, man. Anything else you want to leave with people? So this will go out to, we have like over 20 countries right now.
Awesome stuff. I love it.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to share?
Well, in closing, I really want to say thank you so much. I think it's been awesome chatting.
Me too.
My main thing for people always is stay positive. Know what's in your heart. And pursue your desires, A lot of times we have dreams and we have visions for our lives, and somewhere along the line it dies, and we then get to a place of like, how did I get here? Why am I not moving forward? Because the dreams is not be kept alive. So never stop dreaming, and making that dream a reality. Actually,
nice.
That is the key. That is really, there's nothing as sad as having a dream and it just remains a dream. But we need to work on our dreams. So everyone out there, work on your dreams, make it happen. That's the only thing I can leave with them.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. It's been awesome talking to you, getting to know you.
Same here, man.
So we have a lot more to talk about when the mics go off.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to Enlightened Abroad. Have a great day wherever you are.